Hey folks, this is a slideshow that I've re-put together from back in the 90s when we were doing the historic restoration in historic downtown Flagstaff as the Main Street Flagstaff Foundation. I was the executive director, Jeff Aronson, and we were trying to convince property owners and business owners downtown, as well as the city Flagstaff, to contribute monies towards restoring historic downtown Flagstaff. And after you see the photos of what it used to look like, you will understand why. So we were a Main Street city until very recently, and that meant that we were part of the National Historic Trust and received not only funds but also the assistance of the state Main Street Foundation and also their historic architect, who did a lot of the renderings that we used to get grant monies and to help property owners restore some of their buildings. So let's begin. Here's an original photograph of the old, what we now call the Amtrak station, what used to just be the train station for Flagstaff. And as you can see from this photo, it hasn't really changed much. It has been repainted and a lot of the bricks repaired and parking lots and walkways built since the restoration, and the interior has been redone. This is its east parking lot. Just before the restoration, this was the first actual project in historic downtown Flagstaff in decades. In the 80s, we formed the Downtown Merchants Association, and this lot here was a dirt lot with a couple of broken down, decrepit cars and a dead tree and a whole lot of broken Tokay bottles. And we, the merchants, put $5,000 into the pot, into the kitty, and the city built us this lot, paved us this lot, and after that it was gung-ho. Now this lot is across the street from these two buildings. This is the corner still of Sante Fe, or Route 66, and San Francisco Street. The San Francisco Street is where the woman is standing with her arms up in the street there. She kind of looks like a fire hydrant. In any case, the building on the right continues to be the oldest building in Flagstaff, and it was Joe's Bar for quite a long time. And across the street from it on the left is the Vale Building, which was Black's Bar for many, many years, and then it was the Club 66, another bar for many, many years, and then it was my store, Winnie's Natural Foods, for quite a few years until it was purchased and Winnie's moved elsewhere. Now, let's concentrate on that building on the left, the Vale Building. Here's how it looked right after its construction in the 1800s, and we'll go through a few phases. There's how it looked during what seems to be a Masonic parade of some sort. Lots of spectators all dressed up for the parade there. Porch is gone. Here's another view looking up San Francisco Street in the 1800s, and once again, it's a parade. Woohoo! That's what the building looked like when I purchased it in the 1980s. It had been quote-unquote restored, stuccoed over in the Art Deco style in the 50s, and because it was 50 years old when I got it, the Historic Trust did not want it restored back to its original brick and stone, which you can still see on the interior. So we just restored the Art Deco motif of that building. The tin ceiling on the building was restored, but unfortunately the person who bought the structure after me removed the tin ceiling and replaced it with regular old plasterboard. Now we're looking, that same building is here on the right, and we're looking west on Sante Fe, or Route 66. Note the Hotel Flagstaff in the middle, that big tall building. That was removed and was an empty parking lot for many years. So this is the same view currently, or recently. Notice the loss of the hotel. Here's the hotel again on yet another parade. I guess nobody took pictures except at parades in those days. Somebody looks like he's dressed up as old Abe Lincoln, and the couple in the middle there, the front of the parade, look like they're having a ball, don't they? Okay, so here's the Hotel Flagstaff, or commercial hotel. That's the building that was removed. And if you look at the building just to the right of it, that turned into the El Patio, a seedy little bar that was there for quite a long time. And if you look to the left, you can see the parking lot that the restoration replaced. And what it replaced it with is this walking mall on the left of what's now the ABC Brewery. That famous ABC beer sign is the original sign that was uncovered after we restored the El Patio. Further west on Sante Fe, Route 66, this is what those buildings just to the left of the commercial hotel looked like up until the early 90s. This is what they looked like just after the restoration. Mary Maston owned that building, the Wigwam, and the store for many, many years. She died in her 90s, and she was one of the pioneers of the retail businesses in downtown and the trading posts. That was her sign after the restoration. And that's what it looks like now. Moving further west, this was the building to the west of it, what it looked like before restoration, and what it looks like now, the Karma Thai Food. Moving further west to the corner, this was the old Jackson Square building. And then post-restoration, that's what it looks like now. Collins Irish Pub. One of the few places where we were allowed to keep the glass sidewalks, or the remnants of the glass sidewalks. We also, when we dug up the sidewalks during the restoration in the early 90s, found redwood storm drains that were still in use, as well as flagstone sidewalks underneath the sidewalks. And by the way, if anybody cares, those flagstone sidewalks were kept in several places, and they still exist underneath the pavement. Here's a mural. One of the several murals downtown on the back of the Collins building, Jackson Square building. Now if we go across the street from that building, there's the Bank Hotel with its original porch, and there's a horse-drawn stagecoach, or bus, you would call them these days, in front. There's what it looked like after a fire took the porch off. And this is what it looked like until the early 90s. Again, somebody thought covering the beautiful stone facade with this junk was a good idea. This is what it looked post-restoration. Moving north on Laro Street now, 1911 built, and still beautifully kept. This is the Citizens Bank that was just north of the alley from that building on Laro Street, and that building has been covered with these buildings. And they remain today, although they're much better kept than they used to be, thanks to Stilley Brothers. Across the street from that building, on the east side of Laro Street, was what at one time was City Hall. That building has been removed and was the Eagle Dancer for quite a long time. And we did a restoration on the Eagle Dancer building, and that's what it looks like today. Back across the street on Laro Street, the Weatherford is on the right here with those posts where those people are standing. And the building on the left was turned into this. And that was in existence until the restoration, and the restoration created this. Sorry for the blurry photo, but it's quite a beautiful little building now. Henry and Sam, who own the Weatherford, also own that building and cafe. This is the original Weatherford Hotel with the cupola on the top and all the balconies. You can see that on the right side, a fire has taken out those posts, and eventually a fire took out the whole rest of the balcony, and it looked like this for many years. Our architect did some drawings, and we helped some in their restoration. And this is it in partial restoration, and then finally with the cupola back up. And you can see the beautiful Charlie's Cafe to the left of it now. Going across the street, the old J.C. Penney building. That turned into McMahon's Furniture for quite a long time. And after the restoration, Maloney's Bar. Looking back at Maloney's and the Weatherford from further north on Laro Street. Now we come back to the corner at Maloney's and look across the street at the Bledsoe building. That was one of the many facade restoration drawings or studies that we did. And based on that, it was partially restored to that, and it's still a work in progress. Now, if you go across the street from that, yet another bank on the corner of, the northeast corner of Aspen and Laro. That building was torn down, and it was a parking lot for many, many years. Now we're sort of where the downtown Main Street Square is, historic square, and now the square is this, with some Main Street money, historic trust money, and a lot of input and money from private developer. That's what the square looks like from the Weatherford Hotel. Now if we move further west on Laro, on Aspen, is the Orpheum. That's the original Orpheum building. Let's go watch an Edward G. Robinson film. That's the building after a huge snowstorm, wet snowstorm, collapsed the roof, and that building was replaced by the building we have today. Next door to that building was an empty parking lot, yet again, downtown before the restoration. And Van Odegaard put Odegaard Sewing Center there. It's now something different. We did a facade study and rendering to try and get Van to accept some grant monies, but he chose to decline. Now we're back on Aspen Street. We are looking west towards the Weatherford, and we're going to concentrate on the row of buildings on the left here. That's roughly what they look like now. But we're going to look at what they looked at like before. Here's one of those storefronts before and after. Quite a difference. Again, look at the Sweet Nothings lingerie on the left, before and after. Across the alley, same street, Sutcliffe Floral before. Why they covered up these beautiful windows, I'll never know. And after. Inside, we have one of the few photographs of the before and after photos of the restoration. Here's before and after. Beautiful tin ceilings in a lot of these buildings. And brick. Next building to the left, before and after. And down towards the First National Bank building where that clock is.